So guys, the first order of business is if you are taking the March SAT, then make sure you check whether your testing center is affected or not. So this link is going to be in the description box down below. So if you go to the website, go to the very bottom and it says test center closings. And if you're taking in the US, hit US and hit the state that you're taking in from. So for instance, I'm taking in Georgia, or my students are taking in Georgia, and it will tell you whether you have to go to some other school or your test center is completely canceled. Okay, so I have a couple students who are taking at Lambert High School, so they are going to be told to go to North Gwinnett High School. Does that make sense? Cool. And also, if you're taking internationally, then hit the country that you're from, but chances are most of them are going to be canceled. So now that's out of the way, let's go over exactly what's going to happen for the next couple weeks in terms of high school students and your schools and SAT in general. So, good way to predict exactly what's going to happen in your country or United States is to see exactly what's been going on in other countries. So the 4 countries that are most severely affected by the virus right now is China, Italy, Iran, and South Korea. United States was less than 100 cases a couple weeks ago, and it's been starting to show massive cases coming up in all over the country. And according to Dr. 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗄, who is a postdoc researcher at Princeton Neuroscience Institute, he says that we can predict exactly what's going to happen in the United States by looking at what's been happening in 3 countries that are most severely affected by this virus. So pink is South Korea, blue is going to be Italy, and orange is going to be Iran. So on the y-axis, we have number of patients who are affected by the disease who have tested positive. And you can tell that all of these countries, all the countries that are listed here who are mostly affected by the virus, they are following a similar pattern, and they are following the pattern of where Italy, Iran, and South Korea have come to. So the green dot represents where the United States is currently right now, and we are about 3 days in, and within about next 12, 13, 14, 15 days, it's going to follow the pattern, and we can predict that United States is also going to end up somewhere around here where all the other countries are currently at. So let's take a look at what's been happening in these countries, okay? So let's take a look at Italy, which is the blue dot. So what's been happening in Italy is that they are shutting down all the schools. And you might be wondering, wait, why are they shutting down all the schools? Well, here's how the virus spreads. Let's say there are about 1,000 people in one school, right? And let's say within the 1,000 people, there is only one person who is currently sick with the coronavirus. Let's say the student doesn't feel it and comes to school. And let's say the symptoms get worse within the school and the student starts to cough and leave other students at risk. And because students are staying with each other for a long time, from maybe like a 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and because they are standing in a close proximity, in the worst case scenario, this one person could infect all 1,000 students. And next thing you know, you started off with 1 patient and now you have 1,000. That's why any kind of gatherings that have a lot of people in one places, such as schools, churches, or any kind of sporting events, and even music festivals like Coachella, these things are getting postponed or canceled in order to minimize the spread of the disease. And the exact same thing is happening in South Korea as well. So South Korea schools to stay shut for 2 more weeks, right? So it's again, for the same reason, they're trying to limit the spread of the virus. And if that's what's been happening in these countries that are severely affected by coronavirus, then we can predict what's going to happen in the United States within next couple of days, next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. So chances are high schools might be closed for a period of time. But let's see what's been happening around within the United States as well, because we only have 1,300 people who are tested positive for the virus. So in terms of colleges, what's been happening is that colleges are moving classes online, okay? They are canceling all the offline classes for the same reasons that schools are getting shut down in South Korea and Italy. They're trying to limit the spread. And it's not only the Ivy Leagues that's canceling down, it's all the UCs, the California universities, and Emory University, where I went to, they are closing down as well. They're moving all the classes online in order to limit the spread of the virus. But that's college, right? You're not even in college yet. Let's see what's going to happen in high school. To understand what's going to happen in high school, it's important for you to understand which regions are affected most severely within the United States. So for instance, in the United States, Seattle is most affected with 366 confirmed cases, and California and New York. These 3 regions are most severely affected at the moment. Let's take a look at Seattle because they have the most confirmed cases and they're technically the most severely affected region. So in Seattle, what's been happening is that their school districts are closing down for the next 2 weeks as well, for the exact same reason other countries are closing down their schools. And again, if you are living in any of these regions, Seattle, California, or New York, I hope you are staying safe. And you might be thinking, hey, I'm not in that region. What's the chance of my school getting closed down? Well, I'm in Georgia, and in Georgia, we only have 23 cases, which is literally a tenth of what Washington has. And within Georgia, there was a teacher who was diagnosed with coronavirus. It was just one teacher in one middle school. And what happened is all these schools in that specific county was shut down for 2 days. Some people might think that this was a overkill, people are overreacting, but I personally think that they did the right thing because if you've been following the virus, this thing spreads very fast. But after watching what happened in Fulton County schools, I just have tipped over. It's not a matter of if schools are going to get closed down, but it's a matter of when schools are going to get closed down. This virus will pretty much spread within next week or two, and it's a matter of time until schools are shut down and SATs are canceled. Speaking of SAT, let's go over what's going to happen with SAT. So if we look at it, within 2019 or 2020, there's one this Saturday, which is March 14th. And based on what I showed you in the very beginning of this video, a lot of regions are affected by the coronavirus and testing centers are getting canceled. And I hope that this thing doesn't get dramatically worse within the next couple of days where it gets to the point where every single SAT center is closed and March SAT is completely canceled. But what about these future testing dates like May 2nd and June 6th? Well, my hope is that by the time we get here, this whole coronavirus thing is behind us and we are back to our normal lives and we can take SATs again on May 2nd and June 6th. But based on what I'm seeing right now, there's a pretty good chance that this coronavirus thing is not going to be resolved by May, or even worse, at worst case scenario, by June 6th. And March SAT might be the last one for a while. People have been saying that as summer hits and things starts to get hot and environment starts to get hotter, the virus is going to slow down and it's going to spread less and less, and this thing's going to go away as quickly as we want it to. And as much as I would want that for it to happen, there hasn't been a study that shows that this virus will slow down when things start to get warmer. But at this point, there's really not much that we can do. We can't continue to complain that, oh, SAT is going to be canceled and my life is going to be ruined. No, complaining will never get us anywhere. All we can do is change ourselves and adapt to the situation. And I'll end the video with this. If you are feeling sick, if you are not feeling too well, guys, please stay home and don't go to the exam on Saturday. I know you have spent a lot of time preparing for this exam, and the last thing you want to do is not show up and waste the exam. But guys, first of all, if you're not feeling too well, you are not going to be able to perform at your best level. And more importantly, by showing up at the testing center, you are putting your peers at risk. You're putting all your friends at risk of catching the virus. And I believe that that's the last thing you want to do. So I'll keep you guys posted if anything new comes up, and I wish you guys the very best on the March SAT. So stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.